Hello gardeners, I'm Joe Gadbois, one of the managers here at Greenland Garden Center, and in this video we're going to talk about one of my favorite groups of plants, which are cacti and succulents. Now we're going to go through some of the basics. These are a very popular group of plants right now, and so we'll talk about a few of the types and how to grow them successfully. Very easy to grow for somebody who sort of has a brown thumb, kind of just getting into plants in general. Very simple. The best thing I think about cacti and succulents is that they don't need a lot of water. So very forgiving as far as underwatering. If you are somebody who doesn't want to water a lot or isn't at home a lot of the time, they're great plants for those kind of people. So looking at cacti versus succulents. Cacti, you know, most people when they see something like this, pretty obvious that it's a cactus. It's got a round body, it's covered in spines, but something like a Christmas cactus is also a true cactus, even though it looks quite different. So what we're seeing here is desert cacti versus jungle cacti. Now, the reason why we're looking at this is they're grown slightly differently, okay? So desert cacti like lots of light, as much direct sun as you can give them. So cacti during the winter, if they're a desert cactus, they like to be bone dry the whole winter, very, very little water. In the summer, they like to dry out completely between waterings, but they should be watered a little bit more regularly. Now, with jungle cacti, they like the light to be a little bit more indirect, so less light. So something like a Christmas cactus, an orchid cactus, any type of cactus that has this kind of flattened stem to it. Grow them in indirect light, still bright, but no direct sun. And they like to have a little bit more regular moisture. So in the spring and summertime, let them dry slightly between waterings, but don't let them totally dry out. And in the winter, let them totally dry out between watering, but don't leave them bone dry for extended periods of time. You will notice them start to shrivel if they are too dry. At the same time, you'll notice them shrivel if they're too wet and the roots rot. So make sure not to keep the soil wet on them. But for sure, the easiest way to kill any type of cactus, whether it's a desert type or a jungle type, is to overwater it. So when in doubt, don't water. Now with succulents, they're kind of grown really the same in general as the jungle cacti, except with the light of desert cacti. So bright light, as much direct sun as you can give them. In the spring and summer, water regularly, let them dry out completely between waterings. And then in the winter, water a bit less regularly, but don't leave them bone dry generally for, say, a month at a time. And it's interesting to see the diversity with different types of succulents, because you have everything from these enormous Madagascar palms, which look a bit like a cactus, but is actually a succulent. And then you have your kind of more traditional succulents like the Haworthia here. So a lot of different types of plants to choose from. So getting into repotting now. With these guys, they don't need to be repotted super often. They like to be root bound. The type of pot that you choose can be just about anything as long as it has drainage holes. It's really best to have a pot with drainage holes. Obviously, if your container doesn't have drainage holes, you want a really good layer of charcoal or something at the bottom for drainage. Clay pots are a great way to go with these guys because they wick excess moisture out of the soil. But plastic pots and ceramic pots work fine as well. Your soil needs to be very well drained. So purchase a bagged potting soil that is designed for cactus. It's usually sold as like a cactus and succulent mix. Usually comes in about a 9 or 10 liter bag for around $8 to $10. Sometimes you need to add extra drainage materials, so perlite or lava rock. If you want to get a really good quality potting mix, you can always go for something like this, which is a professional quality mix. And notice that it doesn't really have any soil or peat in there. It's all minerals. So the water drains straight through, and that is perfect. It's much more difficult to overwater when you have a sharply drained potting mix like that. And again, They like to be root bound, so you don't need to repot super often, but I would say generally about every 5 years or so, or when your pot starts to break because the plant is just totally outgrowing the pot. Fertilizer, okay? Fertilizer with these guys in the spring and summer. Apply a balanced fertilizer, so like a triple 20, or a cactus fertilizer, which they'll have different formulas, but anything that says it's a cactus fertilizer works. And you can also go with a 15-30-15 bloom booster fertilizer. Now we know that Christmas cacti have very nice blooms, but it's amazing the kind of flowers that you can get on desert cacti. Some of these things will have flowers up to 8 inches across. They only last a few days, but they're absolutely stunning. If you're not seeing flowers on your cactus, it's very important to make sure that your cacti are getting a good rest period during the winter. So grow them cooler, bone dry, lots of sunshine, and then a bit more moisture, fertilizer, lots of sunshine in the spring and summer. And that's going to get you really nice flowers on all of your cacti and succulents. And that pretty much does it. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. Check out our website at greenlandgarden.com for an excellent resource on gardening, both indoors and outdoors on the prairies. Like us on Facebook to see what's going on at Greenland. And thank you very much for watching. For Greenland Garden Center, I'm Joe Gadbois.